Ooh, I'm gonna go get something to eat.
Welcome to Crosscut, a movie review slash trivia challenge show. I'm your co-host Chris.
And I'm your other co-host, Josh.
So today we're taking a look at The Platform on Netflix, a horror sci-fi thriller about a vertical prison with one cell per level, two people per cell, only one food platform, and 2 minutes per day to feed. An endless nightmare trapped in the hole. Now, before we get into the movie, we do want to issue a spoiler warning as this episode may contain potential spoilers. We highly recommend pausing this episode, getting yourself a big old popcorn and a tasty beverage, and go watch it for yourself. For everyone else, let's begin. It was my week to choose, and I went with The Platform. I've been looking at it for a while on Netflix, it's just scrolling through, and I finally saw the trailer. I was like, this is interesting. Like it's very simple storyline. You're trapped in the hole, which in actually the title of the film is called El Hoyo, translated to the hole. I don't know why they went for platform, but
That's probably the North American version of the name of the movie.
I think so. I mean, and they always change it, but I did watch it in Spanish with English subtitles. Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
See,
good.
see.
When I saw it like 2 days ago, I was like, all right, I'm getting into it already because it's the beginning shot with his eyes just opening, and you're like, oh, where am I? Okay, you're in the hole, you know, and I don't know why. It's just every shot, even though it was simplistic, was well done. You know, the whole concept of staying in one level for a month and getting the scraps from other people, or you're getting the whole bounty at first, I really, really liked it. And not just that, it touched on every subject you can think of, from the classists, from racism to everything, like even work, like
There's a lot of social commentary going on. There's
yeah,
also a deep theme about religion and hell, things like that.
right.
Um, I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you read some of the trivia about it, but there's some interesting things about. We'll get into it.
right.
Maybe I don't want to say too much because it could be potential questions, but with the numbers and how many numbers there could be in the prison is
Hmm.
basically an allusion to like Dante's Inferno, hell, things like that.
Right,
So
right.
there's a lot of
Which
interesting things going on. But yeah, a lot of social commentary, especially with the higher up you are, the better food you get, and then the farther you go down, you get less and less. So yeah, I definitely was picking up on that. Very interesting there. And
hmm
yes, this would be the idea of like a high concept movie where it's high concept, low. I don't want to say low budget, but it probably was not a huge budget. I could
I
see this
think,
as being a movie that was shot independently and then Netflix purchased it. I could see it of having
okay, I
like a
can see that.
lower,
Yeah.
$1-2 million budget because it's all essentially one location, but there still has some like good effects going on, with the platform going up and down and things like that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and I did like that the fact that like his cellmate was still also sharing part of his story, but like his tagline of obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should have been
And
the catchphrase of the movie.
I had a feeling that the old guy was gonna his thing that he brought with him was a knife.
Mm,
Samurai plus.
hmm. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did like the book that he brought with him, Don Quixote de la Mancha. Have you ever heard or read anything about that book?
I watched the movie in school for Spanish class. John Lithgow.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
I read the book when I was a kid, and I was like, it's very interesting how they picked that book, Descent into Madness, and all that stuff. Like you actually see that. You almost see like he's going into madness. He's ready to give up. He's eating human flesh.
Hmm.
He has no choice but to survive. You know,
Right. Right.
and even the special effects with the eating and everything, like that was pretty that was pretty good. Uh,
I mean, it made you either hungry or not hungry, depending on how you feel about it.
well, I mean, I wasn't actually hungry or not hungry for when I saw that food on the platform.
Hmm.
I don't know. It didn't get to me like that, but the fact that everyone just had to just keep going at it, just trying to get as much food as possible, and
Well,
all
you
those
also see how
moments.
easy it is for people to give up once they get replaced into a lower level.
Right,
There's
right.
which also could be a theme going on right there in itself is maybe if
Mhm.
somebody loses it all in life and just how easy they are to give up, they're not willing to almost to rebuild themselves. Let's say they lost all their money, they're starting from the bottom, and
True.
they either try to rebuild, literally, in this case, get back to the top,
Yeah,
or they
yeah.
just give up. So there's an interesting, a lot of interesting themes going on in the movie. An
It
interesting,
is.
have not heard of anybody in this movie, filmmakers, actors, actresses, none of them.
Me neither, but I like that part. I like not having everyone that's recognizable because
Yeah.
it makes you focus more on the story. And that's exactly what I did. I focused on the story. Like, oh, I don't want to pay attention to Ben Affleck, for example.
Hmm.
I want to actually know what's going on. What's the reason behind the whole, you know,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
prison. Even in the flashbacks of when he volunteered to be in there, he's talking to that worker. Like he wants to get a diploma or something like that.
Hmm.
I'm like, interesting. Why are you going to go into suffering just for a diploma? But it also depends on where you're from, and they never specify.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Right. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's a Netflix movie, or technically it's a Netflix original.
right?
Technically, even though, like I said, maybe it wasn't, maybe it didn't start off as a Netflix movie, but Netflix purchased it. And
Mhm.
when it comes to Netflix movies, for me, I don't watch that many of them because they're very much hit and miss. I would say
Yeah,
they're more miss than hit, but I have seen some that are pretty good. And what I will give Netflix credit for is they'll take chances on these types of movies. Because if this movie went to theaters, it probably wouldn't have done anything.
yeah. It wouldn't. I don't think it would have been a blockbuster for sure because there's no A-list actors,
But even
and
if you
it's an
made the same
international
movie
film.
with like A-list actors, I still don't think it would have been like a big movie nowadays.
Probably not.
So,
But that's the thing. I also the international films always do better. You know,
I mean, they have creative ideas. I will say that.
they did.
They have unique ideas. Like this movie. This movie is a unique idea that keeps you interested in asking questions. Because when I first watched this, I didn't watch any trailers. I had no idea what the story was about. I only read the tagline. I saw the
Mhm.
picture. That's your background. So I was like, okay, it's like a prison. All right, sure. And then once I was watching the movie, I was learning as the movie goes along, kind of explaining things and how this works. And this kind
Mhm.
of reminded me a little bit of the movie Cube, that sci-fi movie from the 90s.
Yes.
Except,
Yes.
that one's a little bit more ambiguous at the end where you're like, what exactly is going on? This one, I think, is just more, it's still people that's behind all this, and there's some sort of like
Yes.
government agency. I still could have,
Mhm.
I would have liked maybe a little bit more explanation, or you see in the beginning with the chefs and the menu, and they're preparing all
Right.
that. Just
That's another thing. And when they're preparing everything, it reminded me of the movie, The Menu,
mm, sure,
right?
yeah.
But no, I get it. I was thinking the cube too when as as soon as you mentioned it because it is kind of similar. But I like the simplicity of this movie.
Hmm.
It's really that simple.
Yeah,
And one scene, one location, you know,
and they have to,
and
they'll change it up, and I was wondering in the beginning, is it going to be this and this other guy for the whole movie? And it's not. And then he meets another
That's it
person,
too.
and then he meets
Yeah,
another person.
yeah.
So he's starting to meet these different people, and I like how they sort of give these little backstories without having to explain it. You know, as they're going down, they'll see characters, and you'll see their items that they brought with it. Like one guy had like a surfboard.
I
You're just like,
saw
why?
that too.
Why would he have a surfboard? Like,
Or a violin.
right, violin,
Hmm.
samurai sword, things like that. So some of
Hmm.
those make sense, like a weapon.
Right.
Some of them you're just like, okay, he had his book, so he just wanted to read.
Yeah, he thought it was gonna be like a peaceful prison thing, like, oh, I'm just gonna be myself. That's it.
Right.
No,
The one guy
this
was clever with
surprised
the
me.
rope. I was like, okay, he has his plans. He's probably was
That was
waiting.
good. That
He
was
was
good
waiting for
thinking.
his turn to get close to the top.
Hmm.
Although, I guess they didn't touch too much on his backstory. Was he there voluntarily or was he actually imprisoned? Because if he was there voluntarily, then why would he be trying to get out? But he
Right,
must have been in prison there because that's why he would have brought the rope was to get out.
right. That makes sense to me. Like, even the old guy saying that he did voluntarily go in there, but I think he says that as a joke, right?
Hmm.
So I can imagine he went in there as a criminal.
Well, I thought that was the idea for the first. You're talking about the first guy he meets, right?
Yeah, the first guy.
Yeah, because he tells a story about him throwing the TV and killing someone.
Right, 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 right. Like
So
that was
I
his penalty to go to the hole because he killed someone by accident.
right,
And
yeah, and that was another thing I was learning as the movie went along. Was like, okay, is this so? Obviously, the first person we hear about is our main character, and he
mhm,
volunteered. So I'm like,
right.
okay, is this like a volunteer only volunteer thing? But then it seems like it's not. Like certain people are actually in prison there, so it's sort
Mhm.
of like this weird thing, you know.
Yeah, it's like a mix of everything. It's also an experiment in a way too for the administration.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
see like how many people would survive, would they get to cannibalism like they show in the movie,
Yeah.
Like what's going on here? You can't really tell at the beginning until you move through it. And I was like, okay,
Right. And then again, the
there's
whole I think the main theme is, which is something they try to do in the movies, like if you ration, then almost
Mhm.
everybody could have something to eat. But of course, again, it's the people at the top want more.
Of course, that's when the classes come out.
Hmm.
And then, but I did like the idea that if you kept anything with you, that the room starts to get hot or cold.
Hmm.
And like, that's your penalty. Like, I really didn't like that idea. Like,
And I thought it
interesting.
was interesting. I thought like if they kept people with them, it'd be the same thing, but it wasn't.
No, it's just
So
food.
yeah.
But it's got to be like sensors or something that like you can tell that it's food that's kept um in the room and not just people. You know,
I
I
thought
mean,
they
I
would have
would
had like
imagine
like hidden cameras or something that were watching them.
maybe, you know, that could be a yeah. Did you know they're gonna make a platform too?
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently it's coming next year.
Okay, platform
But
two.
I don't think they should
No.
because I like the way it ended. Like it's up to your imagination of what could actually happen. Was the little girl the final message to the
Hmm.
administration?
Right.
You know,
Most likely they'll probably try to expand on the world and who the government is. I'm sure you'll see it from their side as well, things like that. So,
I can see like if they did get like the message of the little girl that
mhm,
they would enforce more on the platform. For example, like no one can actually step on the platform or they'll get zapped or something like that.
mm, okay,
Like like there's a pressure sensor, you know, stuff like that. Like I can see that happening and just making it worse and stricter instead of actually doing the right thing of like rationing and everything, serving your
right,
sentence the right way.
right. Well, I
But
guess we'll have to find out.
exactly. Let's get into IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. So on IMDb, it actually has a 7.0, which is actually very good. Well, and then the Metascore of 73. It's pretty good, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Imagine it's a lot of views with on Netflix just to begin with.
I mean, it's got over
Now
200,000 votes just for the IMDb. That's a lot
it
for
is.
yeah.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 79% tomato score, which is pretty good still,
Hmm.
and a 72% audience score. This is about the same almost.
Yeah, pretty well
But
received.
it really was, you know. What's your final thoughts of this movie?
I thought it was an interesting concept. I thought it definitely, kept you intrigued as you were going along. And,
I agree.
I don't need a sequel, but I will probably watch it just to see what they expand on. But I do
Mhm.
think that it was an interesting idea that, we need more of nowadays.
Yeah, some more original things.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. You know, I just really did. Pop quiz, Hotshot. Two guys watch a movie. Who remembers the most about it? Let's find out. This is how it works. So Josh and I will go back and forth asking multiple choice questions that each of us came up with. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. For our audience members, feel free to play along. Who knows, you might even do better than us. Comment and let us know how you did. Now that the rules are established, let's play. Since it was my pick, I get to ask the first question. Are you
All
ready?
right. I'm ready.
All right, we'll start off
Scoreboard
easy.
is up. Let's do it.
All right, let's start us off easy. How about
All right.
that? What is the fruit that's in the beginning of the movie, the first scene? Is it A, apple, B, orange, C, peach, D, lemon?
You're talking about with all the bakers and the chefs and all that?
Yeah.
I believe it was an orange.
Correct.
All right.
Told you it was easy.
Here we go. Question one for Chris.
Hey.
This is also pretty easy. What level does Garenge, I think I'm pronouncing that right, the main character,
Yep.
what level does Garenge first wake up on? Was it A, 33, B, 48, C, 117, or D, 6?
48.
48 is correct.
Yeah, when he wakes up on level 48,
Yes.
him and his roommate, the roommate says that there's so many people left over when they are eating. He says a number.
He says 94.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because there was 94 people above them that have already eaten before it gets to
Right.
them. Okay.
Yeah. So you got that one right.
All right.
Poorly phrased, but you got it right.
Okay. I'm going to give you a non-level question, which I think is still pretty easy. Okay. Round two. Which actress is said that Miharu wants to be like? Was it A, Judy Garland, B, Lana Turner, C, Marilyn Monroe, or D, Audrey Hepburn?
Marlon Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe is correct.
Okay. How many years did the worker say she worked for? Is it A, 12, B, 25, C, 20, D, 33?
It was 25 years.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right, go.
All right. Question three for Chris. Give me 1 second. I'm going to give you another non-level question. What is Garange's favorite food? Was it A, surf and turf, B, shrimp, C, escargot à la bourguignon, or D, Pierre escargot?
C, I can't pronounce it.
Escargot à la bourguignon?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
All right.
It's not D. Pierre Escargot. That's a character from Keenan or from All That with Keenan Thompson. Good job, Chris. All right. After 3 rounds, we're tied 6-6. Will there be another sudden death? Ooh.
Oh no. What does the lady prisoner eat from the platform before he kills her? Was it A, cake, B, bread, C, lobster tail, D, snails?
It's not snails. I'm gonna guess it's between 1 or 2. I'm gonna say. What was option A again?
Cake.
Cake. Okay. I'm gonna say cake.
Wrong.
Was it
It
lobster
was
tail?
lobster tail.
I
Yep.
couldn't remember. It was one of the two because I think somebody else eats cake. So I must have been thinking of that
They
person.
step in the cake.
Okay. Got it. All right.
I got you.
Question for you.
Okay.
Another level question.
No, of course.
Okay. What level does Trimagasi, the first inmate he bunks with?
Yeah.
So what level does Trimagasi say he first woke up on? Was it A, 48, B, 72, C, 132, or D, 172?
172.
Incorrect. The answer was 72.
I knew there was a 2 in it.
So that was the first level he says he woke up on out of
Okay.
the multiple levels he's been on.
Yeah, he went fluctuating.
Yep. He knew the layout.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
He did. All right.
Final round. We are tied still 6-6.
Oh, what should I need to give you a hard one now. If I can get a hard one out of this. All right. What kind of food was thrown at the guys in the kiddie pool? Was it A, steak, B, melon, C, chicken, D, watermelon?
I thought it was steak.
Nope, it was watermelon.
That's the wrong answer.
All right.
Ah.
All right, Chris. Final question. If you get this right, you win. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. What dessert do they use to try and send a message? Was it A, panna cotta, B, creme brulee, C, flan, or D, pots de creme?
Panna cotta.
Panna cotta is correct.
I like how all your desserts were very creamy and very much the same.
Well, that's when I Googled it. I was like, similar names, similar ones. To try and
Gotcha.
trip you up. I could have just said, Chris wins for the first time in 6 months. Chris has won.
I win.
You needed this one because it's been a while.
I know.
But that now puts us at the season. I'm up 3-1. Can Chris make a comeback? We'll have to find out.
I will.
We'll see.
And congratulations to me for being this week's pop quiz hotshot winner. Yay. Finally.
Finally.
If you want to support the show, you can do so by hitting that like button for this episode. You can also subscribe to the channel and stay up to date for future episodes.
We would like to thank you all for watching and or listening. Cut, print, we're moving on. I'm gonna go get something to eat.